Okay.
Is your microphone on?
Telemundo called and asked us for our YouTube channel.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Wednesday, August the 7th. My name is Judge Esparza. We have some great hearings scheduled for this afternoon. Everybody was sworn in earlier. First case I'm going to call is C3565-24-I, State of Texas versus Betsaida. Betsaida? How do you pronounce your first name? Betsaida? Vela? You speak English, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just go ahead and stand in the middle of the room there. Yes, just face the TV monitor. Can you see your attorney on there?
Yes.
Okay. Tanya, this is your motion. You may proceed.
Yes, Judge, good morning. Tanya Ramirez on behalf of Ms. Vela. Judge, we filed a writ for bond reduction. Currently, the bond is set at $50,000, Judge. Ms. Vela is not able to make the bond as it currently is today. I don't believe that she doesn't have a lot of support out there to try to help her. However, even with the 10% cash rate, even if she would pay the bondsman, she's still not able to make that to post that bond, Judge. At this time, my client is asking for mercy from the court. She is from Hidalgo County, and she will be present at the next court. And she will apply to any condition the court would like if they were to reduce her bond.
Okay. What says the state?
Good afternoon, Judge Michelle Beltran for the state. The state is in agreement to reduce the bond to $30,000. 2 of her misdemeanors have already been indicted. This is the only case that's pending for her.
Ms. Vela, how old are you, Ms. Vela?
24.
Eric?
Well, I'm with them.
You have children? How many children? How old are they?
4, one's gonna be 5, and 6.
How old is the other one?
6.
6. Where are they now? Do you have a job?
I was applying for the hospital for movies. The time that happened, I got here.
What city do you live in?
I was living in San Juan,
House or apartment?
in an apartment.
Was a protective order issued on this case? It's expired already. I believe it expired. Or actually, was it a protective order? No, it wasn't a protective order. I take that back. I'm going to ask that you have no contact with the victim. You understand? Don't go back to that address. Don't go back to that house. Cause any more problems. You understand?
I understand.
Surcharge.
So, Judge, the bond's gonna go down to 30?
Now, hold on just a minute.
Okay, sorry.
I had her case confused with another one. This is the one involving that vehicle. Okay. How long has she been in jail? 32 days? I'm gonna reduce the bond to $2,500 cash surety. This involved a vehicle, I believe it was repossessed.
Yeah.
Bond will be reduced to $2,500 cash surety. If you make bond, stay in contact with your attorney.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Judge. We'll inform the
right.
family. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful
Thank
day.
you. You too. Have a good afternoon. Next case we're going to call is 3548-24-C, State of Texas versus Emmanuel Gonzalez. Mr.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Gonzalez is
Jorge
present.
Ortegon from-
Good afternoon, Mr. Gonzalez. I'm sorry, Mr. Ortegon, your client is present. He does speak English. You may proceed.
Your Honor, my client is a U.S. citizen judge. He is sitting in jail, obviously, as this court knows, on $20,000 cash surety bond, Your Honor. It's charged as a felony because of the 2 previous convictions, Judge. However, it would be a misdemeanor, Your Honor. It is a nonviolent offense. As this honorable court knows, my client is presumed innocent unless proven guilty, Judge. He is not a flight risk, Your Honor. The $20,000 bond is much too high for him to afford, Your Honor. We are respectfully requesting a $2,000 PR bond, Judge, but if this court's not inclined to give him a PR bond, we would respectfully request maybe a $2,500, $2,000 cash surety bond so he can attempt to come up with 10% of that, Your Honor. The bonds as it stands right now are just too high for him and his family, Your Honor.
All right, what says the state?
Your Honor, the state would be opposed to any bond reduction. This defendant has a lengthy criminal record. The victim in this case is his mother. I'm not sure what the defendant would stay if he is released. Additionally, he picked up another harassment case where the victim in that case doesn't want any contact with the defendant. He keeps leaving her notes. So because he does have misdemeanor felonies and including assaults and violations of protective order, the state would be concerned for the safety of those victims, Judge.
And Judge, if I may add, Judge, we are here on a theft charge, and we're not here on harassment. We're not here on any other, charges, Judge. And I know this court knows that he is presumed innocent, Judge. And this court has the opportunity to, order him to stay away from specific people if given bond conditions, Judge.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, how old are you, sir?
38, 85, over 1985.
How old?
I'm from 1985, August 1.
Okay. What city do you live in, sir?
Michigan.
Who do you live with?
My parents. My mom.
Know your address?
Yes, sir. 960, Mission, Texas, 785, 772.
You know what street it is? 916 what?
960 in the house address.
You have a job, sir?
Not right now, sir, but I didn't get one.
When was the last time you worked?
Never mind, I've been working, sir. I'm just getting settled. I'm just gonna stop working. But I'm looking for a job.
38 years old, you've never had a job?
Never had a job, but I'm looking for any kind of job.
Are you disabled?
Well, it should be tropical, but I don't know why I haven't seen tropical like nothing.
Okay. How long have you been living at your mom's house?
Like all my life, like at least like I'll say 5 years.
Okay. I didn't see a protective order issued in this case.
But I ain't broke the particular order. I ain't broke it.
Okay.
Sir,
I'm gonna
stop
order-
talking, let the judge talk.
I'm gonna reduce the bond to $1,500 cash surety.
How much is that? 10%?
Yes, 10%. You'd have to pay 10%. Talk to your attorney afterwards or talk to a bondsman afterwards about how much it would cost you, okay?
Okay.
Your Honor, can we also
Um,
no harmful contact with the victim?
Yes, I'll add that on there. No harmful contact with the victim. There's not a protective order in place, so there's nothing that prevents you from going back there. But if you go back there and cause problems with your mom or your parents, you may be arrested again. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You behave yourself while you're there. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna order no drugs, no alcohol, sir.
No, I'm good, girls.
That's good. No drugs, no alcohol.
Okay, sir.
I'm gonna order that you get tested. If you come back positive for drugs or alcohol, that's violating your bond and you may end up back in jail. Do you understand?
Okay, so I'm getting probation.
No, this is just to get you out on bond. You're gonna have to show up later at the courthouse to take care of this case with your attorney. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Judge,
Anything
I'll
else,
speak with
Mr.
him.
Octagon?
Nothing, Your Honor, and I'll address whatever competency issues may or may not exist, Judge, but that's all I have this morning, Judge, this afternoon.
All right. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Likewise, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Wait, no, see, wait, you can, yeah, you can take him. Greg Lopez on here, there you are. Next case
I'm
we're
right
gonna
here, Your
call is, okay, is C 3544-24-F, State of Texas versus Arlette Del Villar. Go ahead and stand up, ma'am. You speak English? Okay. Your client is pregnant, Mr. Lopez, and she is English speaking. You may proceed.
Well, Your Honor, my client is an English speaker. And Your Honor, this is a very tragic case. This involves the unfortunate drowning and passing away of her son, who was 4 years old. This happened on or about July 4th of this year here in Mission at a pool at her friend's house, okay? Now, my client's been charged with a second-degree felony of abandonment or endangering of a child. But, that determination was made by an investigator at Mission PD. Those are issues later, right? Point is, Judge, my client doesn't have a criminal history. She is 38 years old. She is a resident of Florida, lives in Florida, has a 12-year-old child in Florida, is married, and if she's not a U.S. citizen, I guess is the only thing that would count against her in this case, but she does have what's called deferred action, Your Honor. She is protected from deportation or removal as a result of an executive order that was passed back in 2007 by President Obama. So it's unlikely that she's going to have any immigration issues from this case, Your Honor, since this is not an allegation of a crime of violence or any allegation of a case of moral turpitude, or it doesn't involve any controlled substances, Your Honor. Now, the bond placed by Mission, the Mission municipal judge, Your Honor, we think is unreasonable. It's $175,000 cash surety. We all know that a person who's not a U.S. citizen will have a high degree of difficulty to be able to work with any bondsman, because the bondsman believes that the person will get deported just because they're not U.S. citizens. Again, she's protected from being removed or deported for the time being. And Judge, since this is going to be a cash bond, her family has been able to collect $20,000 that they're willing to put as a cash bond. Now, I'll also note that my client was allowed to return to Florida so that she can bury her son and so she can seek some sort of counseling for herself and her daughter, both which were present when this incident, or witnessed some part of this incident, Your Honor. And she turned herself in last Monday. She flew back from Florida. We went to turn her in. No one had to go and look for her. She never lost contact with me about where she needed to be. And I just don't see how she's a flight risk. I asked her, Your Honor, I said, what are we going to tell the judge to convince him that you're going to show up to court? And she said, well, I already lost one child. I don't want to lose contact with my oldest child. I'm going to follow the court's orders. So we're asking for a $20,000 bond, Judge.
What says the state?
The state would be opposed to any bond reduction. The defendant apparently lives in Florida. How would we be assured that she's going to be attending her court appearances? Additionally, like defense counsel mentioned, this did involve the death of a 3-year-old. The state would prefer, or we would like to keep her in custody, Your Honor.
Ms. Del Villar, how old are you, ma'am?
I'm gonna turn 38 this month.
You have family here in Hidalgo County?
I only have my stepsister, but all my family is in Florida,
Your stepsister lives here in Hidalgo County?
in Alton.
Your parents live in Florida? What city in Florida do you live in?
Dade City,
Saint what?
Dade, D-A-D-E, space City, C-I-T-Y.
Do you have a house there?
Yes, and I work from home.
Do you own the home? Are you renting or buying?
It's under my parents' name, but I'm in the title.
What kind of work do you do?
I do customer service for Progressive Insurance,
How long have you been doing that?
2 years.
Mr. Lopez, in your motion, you make reference to some documents issued by the INS. Do you have copies of those documents?
I have copies of those documents, Your Honor. I have a copy of her work authorization. Again, my client is a recipient of deferred action for childhood arrivals. My client's lived in the United States since a child. You know, those people are protected from removal, Your Honor. That was the purpose of that program. It's called DACA.
I understand what it's called, but in your motion, you indicated that there was documentation, but you didn't attach any of that documentation. Could you provide a copy of that to the court?
Your Honor, if that documentation is not attached, yes, I can send a copy of that. If the court would just tell me where I can email that, I will do that.
If you could just file it e-file it with your motion, where you
All right.
say under the same cause number as an exhibit,
All right,
so that I can review it.
I'll do that.
Ma'am, I'm gonna hold off on making a determination on your bond amount until I get those documentation. But added conditions that if you do make bond, that I'm gonna add is that you're not gonna stay here, right? Where's your daughter at?
In Florida. When I left here, that they give me the opportunity, I took her back. She's at the house with my husband. I buried my son and I make sure she was set up with therapy and everything.
How
And
long have you been married?
8, 9 years, but together 17 years.
Your husband a US citizen?
No,
Does he work?
yes,
What does he do?
he's a musician.
File those documents, Mr. Lopez. I'll take a look at them and then I'll make a determination. You understand, if you make bond, I'm not gonna impose a geographical restriction that you have to stay here in Hidalgo County. I'll allow you to return, but you will have to come back to Hidalgo County at some point to take care of this case, maybe more than once. If you do not show up at any one of those hearings, they will issue a warrant for your arrest and you will be back in jail. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Where were you born, ma'am?
Mexico City,
How long have you been in the United States?
since 1999. I used to live in the valley.
Over 20 years you've lived here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime you want me to be here, I'll be here.
Well, you're gonna have to show up at the courthouse at a later time with your attorney. Mr. Lopez, file those documents. You said the family had $20,000 to
Yes,
put up as on one of these cases, bondsmen usually ask for what, 50%?
Your Honor, I'm asking for a $20,000 cash bond. And
Okay.
you know, as I understand how bonds work, Your Honor, my clients are gonna walk to the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office and make the deposit in the entire amount because they haven't been able to work with a bondsman because my client's not a US citizen.
Okay, I understand. All right. Provide those documentations. I'll have an answer for you the day after I receive them.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Michelle, I believe that's all we have this afternoon. Mr. Contreras' case was reset to next week. Thank
you,
you for
Judge.
your help. Have a good afternoon.
Goodbye, Judge.
Bye-bye.